In this lesson, we're going to talk about the rest of the shape parameters. First of all, I create a rectangle. The first parameter is content.
In front of this parameter, there is an option called Add, which was also here.
By Add option, you can add some functions to this content. I click on this triangle, a menu will open. The first one is Group. By this, you can create group and put layers in it. I have rectangle, ellipse, polystar, and path. I click on ellipse. You see an ellipse created. Polystar makes a star. And in this section, you can create fill, stroke, gradient fill, and gradient stroke for the shape. And from here, you can create modifiers for shape. We will explain them in the next session. When you open content, there is a rectangle and it's this one. In the rectangle, I have fill and stroke I have explained about before. I open the rectangle path. You can change its size. The difference between size and scale is that if you increase the scale, the stroke's thickness will increase as well. But when you increase the size, the stroke thickness won't change. By this parameter, you can change the position of the shape. And by the next parameter, you can change the roundness of the corners of the shape. This parameter reverses the path. To explain it more, I add a trim path modifier and place it under fill and stroke. I don't need fill for now, stroke is enough. I animate start. You see, it starts animating from this point. If I want the animation to start in this direction, I should click on this icon and you see its direction changes. So it reverses the path. So this option reverses the path direction. I delete this. I enable fill. I place it here. I create a rounded rectangle. Open it, open rectangle path. Rounded rectangle has the same parameters that the rectangle had. The only difference is that the roundness is set on 65 while it was 0 for rectangle. I delete this. The next one is ellipse. I create an ellipse and open its layer. Here I just have size and position. The next one is polygon. Open polystar path. As you see, here I have different parameters. From type, you can select polygon or star.
Point defines the size of the shape. We know position and rotation.
Outer radius is for its size. Outer roundness softens the corners. The next one is a star. I don't need to create a star. Just I go to the polystar path and change the type. You see the parameters changed. Inner radius, which changes the inner radius of the star. Outer radius is for wing's length. Inner roundness is for softness of the inner corners of the star. Outer roundness is for the softness of the outer corners. And I have explained the other parameters before. The important point to say here is that every shape has its own transform parameter, by which you can apply individual changes to any shape. In spite of the fact that every shape has its own transform parameter,
every layer has a separate transform parameter.
You see, when I change the position, both shapes move together. When I rotate it, both shapes rotate together. This helps you have more control on the shapes. For example, I drag it here, make a keyframe, and at the second one, it comes here. This shape moves. I want to rotate the polystar while moving. The shape layer moves, and meanwhile the polystar rotates. You can do the same thing for this square. I create a keyframe for position of the rectangle in timeline. After half of a second, I drag it up. At second one, I paste the first keyframe here to move the rectangle down again. Finally, I got this animation.